What's happening, MLK? Good to see you. Abbey Road, good to see you. Welcome back to Conversations on the Couch. I'm glad that you're here. Happy Friday. Hope you had a fantastic day. Let me say what's happening to some people. Birds, good to see you. Real Tommy, good to see you. Jamie, good to see you. Kilo Bang, good to see you. One Twisted, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Ron Robinson. All right, good to see everybody checking in. Simply Paula, hello, Paula. Aaron Dean, good to see you. A lime, good to see you. Jessica, good to see you. Rich, good to see you. Jay Russell, Jake Man, Mary Williams, everybody joining in. Paul Pierce, good to see you. All right, good to see everybody checking in on this Friday. Um, what are we talking about today? What we are talking about today, we're going to talk about criticism and conviction. We've been talking all week with the topic of nevertheless, making a commitment to never settling for the lesser aspect of ourselves. And today we're going to build on that with the conversation around conviction and criticism. Because guess what? On your journey to becoming your best self, to fulfilling those dreams, aspirations, the vision that you have within you, to whatever it is that you are meant to accomplish in this world, you are going to face some criticism. And how we deal with that is going to be vitally important to whether or not we accomplish the very thing that we are setting out to accomplish. So we've been going through a particular story, a well-known story this week. And tonight we're going to build on it. 1 second, let me make a quick adjustment real quick so that we are not being disturbed. All right, so while we've been talking this week, I used as a frame of reference a story that is quite popular during this time, and I spoke about Jesus, and you may not be a Jesus person or a Bible person, and that's totally fine. You can still hang with the conversation. What we're going to talk about, I believe, is still going to help you one way or another. Not preaching at you or nothing like that, but this story is pretty significant, and there's a lot to it that oftentimes gets overlooked. So we started off this week because there's this point in this story with Jesus, and he's going to be crucified and all that. But he's in this garden and he's facing this reality that he's making a tough decision. He has to decide whether or not he's going to go through with this mission that he's being faced with. This mission of going to the cross, often debated, whether or not it really happened. And people have all kinds of different perspectives. But if we just look at the story for a second, he's being faced with this moment of something that's really challenging. And so it's a very tough time. He's being faced with it, and it's actually causing him some anguish. So much so that in the Bible it says that as he was sweating, his sweat was as blood dripping to the ground. Like that's how much stress was going on. And so there was a point where, yeah, here's this assignment, here's this thing, here's this mission, and yet he still prayed a prayer that said, if there's any way for this cup to pass from me, could that be so? In other words, he was saying, if I could get out of this, like, can that be the case? But then immediately after praying that, he says, okay, nevertheless, one word, but 3 words in this one word, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done, right? And so we just kind of stopped and we looked at the nevertheless statement. These 3 words joined together as one. If we take that approach in life, nevertheless, and if we all could apply that simple phrase to our lives, what would our lives look like? If we decided that we were not going to choose the lesser road. Why? Because the lesser road is a road of lack. The lesser decision is a decision that is lacking something. So if we are choosing the lesser, that means we're choosing lack. But Jesus in this case says, nevertheless. He didn't say like sometimes the less. He said, nevertheless. And so if you take that choice, that decision, that commitment to say, nevertheless, you have then shifted your entire being, your entire focus, your entire energy towards abundance in any aspect of your life. If you can look at your health and wellness and you say, you know what, I'm not choosing the lesser for myself. I want something greater. I'm going to focus on abundance. When you say nevertheless, then immediately you can begin looking for, okay, if I'm not doing the lesser, what can lead me to more? And when you start to ask yourself, what can lead me to more, you're going to start to find it. You might be in relationships with people that they're just unfulfilling relationships. They're not getting the job done for you. You know that that relationship is not the best or what you truly, truly desire. And if you took the approach of nevertheless, it might cause you to make some changes. You might say, listen, I've been in this relationship with this person and it does not satisfy me. This person doesn't show me love. We are not loving one another. We don't communicate well. We are just at wit's end. We are at odds with each other. There's something, this is just not the ideal relationship for me, but yet I've been in it. And if you get to that point where you say, I'm tired of this, and I don't want to live in this lesser place. So let me choose a nevertheless approach as it pertains to this relationship, as it pertains to romance, as it pertains to what I want in terms of intimacy and connection. I don't want the lesser. I want something greater. You're going to shift your focus to having greater. Doesn't mean you have to get divorced. Doesn't mean you have to do all that. No, it can simply mean you're going to change your focus and how you approach that relationship. And if two people would agree on a nevertheless approach, your relationship is going to be different. It's going to move to the next level because you've committed to the next level. Now, in this week, we've talked about this process, and there are different aspects of this journey that Jesus went on that apply to all of us. So first, he makes this nevertheless commitment. Now, we also learned that when you make a commitment, the thing that happens as soon as you make a commitment, you've now invited conflict into your life. Because when you choose something greater, you are choosing to be at war and invite conflict to whatever your current situation is. See, when you decide you want to get stronger, that means you're inviting the conflict of resistance into your life so that you can be built up in strength. Right? When we want to exercise and we say, oh, I want to become healthier, that means we're going to engage in activities that cause us to disturb our current comfortable situation. Right? We like what we like. We like the things that have brought us to the condition that we are in physically, right? We like those things. It's normal, it's relaxing. It's, oh, I can just eat without really worrying about it. I can just eat half of a cake if I want half of a cake. I don't have to worry about calories. That's super comfortable. Way more comfortable than, all right, let me actually calculate my macros. Let me actually calculate how many calories. Let me decide and discipline myself that I'm not going to eat the whole cake. Brian, like, don't eat the whole cake. Just eat a slice. That requires more effort. That requires more discipline. It also leads me towards abundant life. And so when we look at that, when we make a commitment, we are also inviting conflict. And it's a positive. Why? Because the conflict that comes with our commitment to greater, that conflict is helping us to become stronger. See, when Jesus made that nevertheless statement, he said, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. What followed was there's an angel that appeared and began to strengthen him. He said yes to the conflict, and then the strength happened. Sometimes we're wondering what's going to happen before we start the process. That's not how it works. You get to figure out and find out what's going to happen after you make the commitment and go. So there have been some dreams, some hopes, some aspirations, some decisions that you've been considering making that you haven't made because you're uncertain about what the outcome is going to be. But you'll never know until you go. You'll never know until you make the commitment. And yes, the commitment is going to bring a conflict because your greatest dreams, your greatest aspirations, your greatest relationships, your greatest professional endeavors, all of that must face some conflict in order for you to get from where you are to where that is. Your greatest dreams are not where you currently are because you wouldn't be dreaming it if they were. It's not, you don't need to dream about something you already have. Like that would be a waste of time. We dream about, we think about, we aspire for something else that we don't currently have. But in between where we sit and where we want to go, there's conflict. And there's a statement that we've been talking about that we actually will press toward that mark, toward that prize, toward that higher calling. We have to press toward that. Now, why do we press? We have to press because that's where the strength comes. It's the resistance that causes strength. When you press against the resistance, that causes you to become strong. And this is what we pointed out during this week. Once you make the commitment to something greater, then everything is working for you. All of that is working for your good. All of the struggle is working for your good. All of the negativity that others might present is working for your good. We saw that in the story. As we went through, we saw that Jesus made this commitment to a greater level. He faced the conflict, and then he had some friends around him. He had community around him. He told his friends, he said, wake up unless you fall into temptation. So we talked about how we need community around us to keep us from being tempted into going back into that comfortable place. Community is important. Then we've realized that Jesus faced the conflict in this confrontation when these opposing forces, these opposing people came to him, and they wanted to capture him. One of his friends sold him out for a little bit of money, and they told him where he was going to be, and they came to capture him. And so we found out that in these moments of conflict, one of Jesus's friends took out a sword, cut off a guy's ear. And last night we talked about the conflict of kindness and how through kindness Jesus took the man's ear and healed it. And so how when we are being faced in these moments of conflict, when we are rising and going to the next level, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be struggle. But one of the ways that we're going to face our enemies is by being kind. We know that kindness, when you are kind to people that are unkind to you, the Bible says that it is like heaping hot coals upon their head. Right? That we oftentimes think about how to get revenge on somebody, but kindness is a great tool for revenge. Because when you are being kind, when others don't deserve it, then it is like placing hot coals on them. That works on their heart. We also realize this: when you bestow kindness upon others, even while they're mistreating you, what's happening is you're keeping your environment from being contaminated. This is important, because we are in a nevertheless mindset, in a nevertheless mode, in nevertheless action. And so as we move in nevertheless, and we take care of our own environment, what we are growing is something great. You are planting and growing something in your own soil that is being enriched by kindness. Now today, we get to a point, Jesus in his story, he's been apprehended and people are criticizing him. There's a criticism that is happening. People are talking about him, talking about how he stirs up the people, and they're trying to come to this place of what should we do with this person? And they fully want to kill him. But they have to bring some accusations against him. There has to be some criticism. And so they're talking about him, and they're bringing him to this place of judgment. They're judging him for his life and talking about how his life was such a negative impact for their agenda. Criticism has set in. And guess what? As you continue to move forward, you are not going to do so without some criticism. But it's important to know, just like he knew, that you have a level of conviction about who you are and what you are doing. They were questioning him. They were criticizing him. They were like, so is it true that you are the king of the Jews and this and that? And they're questioning his position. They're questioning his stance on life. He didn't say much. He said, look, if that's what you say, that is what it is. He wasn't sitting there arguing with people, trying to tell them, don't you know who I am? Don't you see my dream? Don't you see this? Don't you know that I deserve better? No. He wasn't arguing any of that. See, that's the thing. Sometimes we look at our lives and we're trying to prove to people who we are. You've been trying to prove to people your dream is going to work. You've been trying to prove to people that there's a greater level of relationship that you can have. You're trying to prove to somebody that really does not want to hear you that you can make all kinds of moves and, hey, we can grow the business and we can do this and we can do that. You're trying to prove to people that do not see what you see, that there is a greater level. Guess what? The reason that you are so frustrated is because your words are being wasted on people who are blind. They are blind to what you are doing. They are deaf to what you are saying. They don't see you, they don't hear you. And so what you are talking about, it does not even resonate with them. They don't see it. And I don't get you. You get on their nerves, as a matter of fact. You agitate them, you bother them, you're messing up their agenda. You're messing up their program with your ideas and with your vision and with your next level thinking, because they are good being mediocre. They are good just managing miserable. They are good being in this place. They're not trying to go to the next level. We talked about this one word, wholeness, this week. Being whole. See, being complete, that's the word, like salvation, being saved means being complete. And so you are in a situation, you're trying to save it. You're trying to make it whole. You're trying to grow it. And they don't see that. They don't want that. They're like, that requires too much. And you're steady trying to talk. You're steady trying to show someone, and you're trying to prove to someone something that they do not want to see. And so at a certain point, you simply just get to become convicted and quiet, where you are not trying to sell someone on that thing that you see. That's where you get to settle in, and you get to know that you know without a shadow of a doubt what you know. And you're not trying to sell them. It's not for them. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear you. They don't want to grow. They don't want to develop. They don't want the richer relationship. They don't want the greater intimacy. They don't want it. Doesn't work for them. So you can go ahead and just shh. Be quiet. Be convicted about it. Don't try to convince them of it, because they don't want to hear it. So you can go ahead and save yourself the frustration, and know that there will be an environment that proves that you're right. There's going to come a time, if you continue to be faithful with that greater level, your commitment, if your commitment to your nevertheless, if you stay committed to that, there will be a time that your life bears the fruit of your decisions. And you won't have to tell everybody, see, look, I told you. You won't have to do an I told you so moment. Your life is going to prove it. We talked about this all week long. As you go through this story, we know, if you've heard the story, at the end of the story, on the backside of the story, after all this stuff Jesus goes through, we know that he goes to the cross, he dies, and then he's resurrected. He overcomes death. He's like, nope, that's not the end of my story. There is victory on the other side of this. See, here's the thing. You sometimes need to get quiet and just go through your story, go through the parts that are hurting you, go through the part where things have to die, go through the part where things have to change. And you don't have to do a whole lot of talking. You just be faithful to each and every step of your journey, of this mission, of this assignment, of your dream. You just keep going. You just say, you know what? Let me just settle down. Let me get convicted in who I am and understand my assignment and what I've committed to. I'm in a nevertheless mode. And I'm talking to people right now that are in a lesser mode. So they're not going to understand nevertheless, because they're completely okay with the less. Two cannot walk together unless they agree. There's no agreement. We're not in agreement. You're okay with lesser. I'm saying nevertheless, we don't agree. No wonder we're at odds. I'm saying there's something greater, and you're saying, I don't believe it. I'm saying, let's go into this promised land. You're saying, nah, there's too many giants. I'm saying we're well able to take this. And you're saying, no, I think I'm a grasshopper in my own eyes. See, there's a conflict. And there cannot be agreement, because they're okay with where they have been, where you have been with them. They're okay with that. There are people in your life. If you decide that you want to get healthier, there are some people in your life right now that will not continue to be your friends. I know this. I've helped so many people to transform their body and their lives, and along the way, they lose friends. Why? Why would someone lose friends simply for becoming healthy? Let me tell you. Because someone starts to feel judged by their life. Someone starts to feel judged when that person is now who used to be just so undisciplined, or they were disciplined towards the undesirable, when they were just going out pounding back drinks and they were eating everything under the sun, and they were just not, they weren't disciplined about anything health and wellness related. But then once they started getting healthy, once they started getting strong, once they started getting focused, once their body started changing, these people were like, see, no, you're too extreme. You mean you're sticking to the same meal plan? You mean you go to the gym 5-6 days a week? You work out every day for 20 minutes? You always go for a walk? Man, you're getting into bed at a healthy time and whatever it is. Then all of a sudden, oh, no, you're just different now. Well, yeah, I'm different. I'm doing things that strengthens me. Of course I'm different. I did that so I could change. I remember one of the women I worked with, and you know, she wanted to lose 100 pounds. That's what our mission together was, to lose 100 pounds, and we did it. And along the way, she was losing friends. She lost some friends, and here was the thing. She came to the realization. She said, people were okay with me as the fat and funny friend. They were okay with me just being the fat, funny friend. They were okay with that. They're less okay with me being disciplined, and I'm still funny, but now I look good too. When I didn't look good, when I didn't feel good about myself, when I was, making jokes on myself, they were all good with that. See, this is what's going to happen. People will criticize you for growing. People that you would think would be all for you. Some people, look, you can already anticipate there are going to be people that are against you, that just don't want to see you prosper. You expect that from them, but there will be some people that are close to you that'll sell you out. That happened to Jesus. He had a disciple, Judas, close to him, sold him out. He had another one, Peter. He was like, Peter denied him, not just once, but 3 times. He was like, no, I wasn't with him. Nah, it wasn't me. Never knew the guy. I wasn't. You must be mistaken. I wasn't down with him. You will get denied by people that you would think are close to you. Of course, you're going to have enemies. That's just a part of it. But your conviction in the face of criticism, that's what's going to keep you. See, you can be convicted to your commitment. Now, they were judging him to convict him to something else. But he's like, no. I know I committed to nevertheless. I know who I am. I'm not waiting for your validation. I'm not trying to sell myself to you for you to validate me. I'm committed to my conviction of who I am. I don't have to prove it to you. I don't have to try to negotiate my way out of this situation. No, because in time, what's going to happen is my commitment to all of this struggle is going to produce good fruit. See, your commitment to the struggle that you know is coming through conflict is what is going to change your life. When you make a commitment, you have invited conflict. There will be conflict in terms of those that are around you, your community. Some people are going to need to wake up. There's going to be conflict when people show up and they're going to judge you. There's going to be criticism. Like, all this is going to happen. But guess what? If you stay committed, your life is going to be different, because your commitment is to the greater thing, and you signed up to struggle to get to that higher place. If you are pressing towards a mark for a high calling, we talked about this the other day. If you are pressing towards, if you have decided, committed, I want the very best of my life. I'm moving towards my highest calling, that thing that is calling me up to another level. Then guess what? You are now saying, I don't even want the lower calling. I don't just want the easy thing that I know I could do. No, I want something greater. I want a greater experience in life. I want something richer. You're saying that, yeah, while this is good, that's good, but that's not all. This is okay. You've been living, you've been moving, you've been breathing. That's good, but that is not all. Isn't there something else? What is your greater moment calling you to? And I oftentimes think that we know that there's a greater moment that we are facing, but we oftentimes are trying to figure out everything that's going to happen. We need to know all the details. What is it? Okay, if I do this, and we're sitting there trying to play the whole game without moving one piece. You're sitting at you're just looking at the board. If I do this, and if I move that, and if I move this, and if this happens, and then if I move that, and then if I do this, then I could perhaps be successful. That's not how it works. By faith, you start moving. By faith, you see something ahead of you that you're not tangibly holding, but by faith, you say, "No, I am going to have that." By faith, I'm going to start moving, and I accept, and I claim, and I'm embracing, and I'm holding, and I'm taking ownership of that thing that I see in my life, and I'm moving towards that by faith. By faith, I'm now. How am I going to get there? Faith. I'm going to faith it. I'm going to have to walk this thing out. See, no one starts day one in the gym and they're like, all right, I want to be healthy. No one starts day one in the gym and then achieves it. Like nobody goes to the gym day one. I want to get healthier. And then boop, I've achieved my goal. No, that's not how it works. You have to show up by faith, believing that if I continue in my commitment of showing up to exercise, taking care of my, getting proper rest at night, drinking water and hydrating properly and paying attention to my nutrition and learning what I need. And when I go through all of this, by faith, I believe now that I actually am going to be healthier because I am actually doing things that lead me in the direction of what I said I'm committed to. That's what faith is. Like, let's not get it twisted. Let's not over like spiritualize. Like, what is this? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Like, okay, so I'm hoping, I'm looking at this, but I'm going to do this now, believing that this is going to produce the thing that I've seen in my future. See, here's the deal. We all have the ability to see the future. Not being woo-woo or nothing like that. Just take your mind for a moment. Allow your mind to dream of something. Allow your mind to have a hope or an aspiration, a goal in the future. And then see it, make it detailed, and then bring it back to your present day. And then start doing things to prepare to get to what you said you wanted to do. You can take it out to tomorrow. You say, okay, tomorrow at 12 p.m., I'm going to go for a walk. All right, great. You've gone into the future. You've seen your future. You've created an idea, a thought for your future. 12 p.m., I'm going to take a walk. Let's bring it back. Perhaps today you set an alarm for 11:50 and you tell Siri, hey Siri, set a reminder. Tell me at 11:50, get prepared for my walk. And perhaps prior to your 11:50 alarm, you say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make sure I lay my sneakers out and put them by the door, and I'm get my sweatsuit together, or my leggings or whatever it is that you're going to wear. I'm just going to prepare my outfit for my walk. See, that's a faith move. By faith, you're now operating. I set an alarm by faith. I'm setting out my clothes by faith. I got my sneakers ready by faith. I'm going to wake up and have myself a nice little breakfast by faith because I want to be energized for my walk. Like all these things, you are now practicing your faith for the future. So it's not deep. It's not mystical. Like, no. We do this a lot. But sometimes we do it in ways that are not even productive. Sometimes by faith, we use our faith in a way that is not healing and whole and producing the greatest part of ourselves, and we are planning for destruction. And then we start moving towards it. We start having conversations around it. We start doing things that are actually self-destructive, and we wonder why our lives are not going to the next level. This is why we go back to the commitment of nevertheless. If you take on a nevertheless commitment today about your life will look different. Your life will look different in the next 7 days. If you decide, you can pick out one part of your life. And I've been encouraging us all week. I'm like, start with your physical. Make a commitment to yourself physically for the next week and tell yourself, I'm committing to abundance in my physical being. I'm making a commitment to my physical health going to another level, increasing, going up, going higher. I'm making that commitment. And so what does that commitment look like? You can make it anything you want. Drinking more water, going to bed at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, sitting down and having, well-balanced meals, whatever it may be, make a commitment. And if you do that consistently for the next 7 days, your life is going to be different. Now, the level of difference, it'll be what it is. But let me just tell you, if you commit, you in 7 days you will be in a higher place. You will have taken your life and your mindset from this place to 7 days higher. That's worth it, because that's 7 days of seed you have been planting. That's 7 days of cultivating that you've been doing. And yeah, you might be the person that is criticizing yourself, right? Here's one of the criticisms that happens when you start. You'll say to yourself things like, oh, I should have started this long ago. Why didn't I start before now? See, I should have been so much farther than I am now. And so you start criticizing yourself because you haven't achieved what it is. And you think, I should have already been there. I should be more, in a different place by now. I thought I was going to be better than this by now. I thought I was going to be this. I thought our relationship was going to be that. And you start now going to war with yourself, criticizing yourself for something that you haven't become. But once you commit, you are becoming that. So give yourself the grace to grow. Don't be the voice that criticizes yourself, especially not now that you've started the journey. You make the commitment, become the conviction. Don't be the criticism. Make the commitment, start to go, become the conviction. Rehearse the fact that you are convicted. Rehearse the fact that you are being consistent. Rehearse those things in your own hearing to encourage your own self to keep going. Get around the community that says, hey, I see what you're doing. Good job. I'm here with you. I'm supporting you. I got your back. I'm going to make sure you don't fall into that temptation of giving up. I got your back. I know it's a struggle, but keep going. See, I love the fact that when Jesus made the nevertheless statement, he was like, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Immediately following that, an angel shows up to strengthen him. After the commitment comes the strengthening. When you become the conviction, do you know what conviction does for you? It strengthens you. Think about it. Start telling yourself, say, I am committed. I am convicted. That changes the whole game. When you start talking to yourself, you're not curious. Like, I dare you, wherever you're at right now, like, just say it. Say, I am committed. I am the conviction. And watch what happens to your body. Now, for me, I've done it twice so far in the last minute. Each time I do it, I get like chills. My skin does that thing. It tingles. When you say it, don't just put it out there. Just, oh, yeah, I'm committed. Your own being doesn't believe that. Don't just throw it out there light. I let something inside of you be so strong that this is your moment that you are going to win. You don't have to believe in the Bible. You don't have to believe in Jesus, but think about the story for a second. Just person to person. I'm not asking you to be, religious or no. I'm not asking you to do that. But think about the passion of this story. Even if somebody just created the story, if someone just sat and wrote this story out, think about the passion of the character that they describe. This person being faced with such a moment of anguish that they are sweating blood. But then in this moment, they say, nevertheless. What kind of conviction was that? Knowing I'm about to get beat up. I'm about to get whipped and abused and spit on and punched. And I'm going to have a cross and I'm going to be hung up in front of all these people that are mocking me with nails in my hand. And they're going to put a crown of thorns on my head and I'm going to be bleeding and all this stuff. I'm going to have to walk with this thing through the city and people are going to be mocking me. Now, think about if someone just created this story, when for you to say nevertheless, what kind of nevertheless would that be? Are you going to really throw it out there all super soft and weak? Like, nevertheless, I'll just, no. That nevertheless, the nevertheless that is in you needs to be a nevertheless of conviction. The Bible describes Jesus this way. He says he is both lion and the lamb. Do you think that nevertheless moment was a lamb moment or a lion moment? Was it a roar, nevertheless, or was it like a nevertheless? Think about it. See, sometimes when you get to your moment of conviction, you need to let the lamb die. The lamb in you needs to go. The lamb in you needs to be slain. The lamb in you needs to be slaughtered. You need the lion in this part. Right? You need to, your greatest self does not need to be like uncertain. You need to speak into your own being and into your own hearing something that is a matter of conviction. Have you ever been or seen somebody in the gym when they're working out and they have a lot of weight on the bar and they're pushing and they yell? Have you ever been around or heard or seen a story where a woman is delivering a baby and at that moment she's pushing and she yells? There is something about the press. When you are pressing against the thing that is pressing against you, that is resisting you, when you decide, I am so committed, I am so convicted that I am going to press against the thing that is bringing resistance against me, that I will yell because I need everything in me to know that the lion has showed up. Like, we know the lion, the king of the jungle. You need the king to show up in this moment of conviction for your life. Like your greatest level, your next level, your nevertheless cannot be a weak moment for you, because this is a life-changing moment for you. You are deciding that you are setting a standard that says, I'm only going one direction, and that is up. I'm only going one direction, and that is greater. I'm not going back. I'm not going back down. I'm not going backwards. I'm not going to lesser. I'm not moving into lack. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going into greater. I'm going into abundance. I'm going into life more abundantly. Conviction. I am the conviction. I am committed. Everything about me is committed to my next level, right? And you just start saying it. And then you're taking action. And then you just say it again. And you take some more action. You're like, and look, you're married, you got a spouse, you two together, you're like, babe, our relationship, let's go to the next level. Okay, babe, let's do that. We are committed. I'm committed to you. You committed to me. Oh, babe, I'm committed too. I'm convicted. You convicted? I'm convicted too. Let's go. Let's go to the next level. What do we need to do? Hey, let's work on our communication skills. What do we need to do? I don't know, let's get a book. Let's practice. I don't know, let's go get some coaching. Let's go get some counseling. But we're not in trouble. That's okay. Let's work on being greater. We don't have to wait till we get in trouble. Let's just start working on being greater, because greater is an opportunity that we have before us. Let's spend some more quality. Let's set aside quality time for one another so that we can be with each other and just learn how to love on each other better. I'm convicted. Are you convicted? I'm convicted. I'm committed. You committed? I'm committed. So let's do that. You don't have to wait until you get sick in order to start getting healthier. Healthier means I can be healthy and then I can be healthier. I don't have to wait to get sick. I want to take healthy and get healthier. We got to look for the in our lives. We got to, like, how can we get into that healthier place? Mentally healthier, emotionally healthier, financially, physically, spiritually, relationally, creatively healthier. You don't have to wait till everything falls apart. Your life might be fantastic right now. Great. The moment you commit to healthier, you're still going to invite conflict into your life, because you are saying, I want the struggle of climbing the mountain. And guess what? The climb is worth it. So as you go into this weekend and as you go through life post being committed, because once you make your commitment, you're going to stay committed. You're committing this time and you're not in and out. You're all in. Right? So since you're making an all-in commitment and you're not turning back, you're not going back, as you go through life from now on and you start facing the criticism, as you start facing people being, mean to you or unkind and all that stuff, don't worry. Don't worry. We already know what to do. This is all working for me. That is just another weight on the bar. You just added some pounds to the bar. I'm going to keep on pushing though, because I'm getting stronger. Every time I face opposition, I'm getting stronger. Every time it happens, I'm getting stronger. No, don't worry. I'm getting stronger. You're not breaking me. Your opposition, it is not breaking you. Your opposition is working for you. And we know this, that in the midst of your enemies, there's a table of provision being prepared for you. Your enemies are going to have to watch you when you prosper. It's not going to happen in private. It's going to happen right in front of them. Those people that have been critiquing you, those people that tried to hold you back, those people that sold you out, all that stuff, they are going to see you prosper. They are going to see you get healthier. They're going to see your creativity rise. They're going to see your romance come alive. They're going to see you in an awesome and amazing relationship and you being loved by someone. Somebody treated you bad in your former days. Somebody mistreated you and they abused you and they talked bad about you and they neglected you and they told you would never be anything. I know, got it. Boom. But you committed to something greater, and guess what? They're going to watch you prosper. Right in front of your enemies, they're going to watch you be in love. And what do we know? The Bible, God said, vengeance is mine. This is why you don't worry about paying those people back. You worry about cultivating the love of your life. I know it can be hard. Somebody mistreated you. Your heart was all broken. I know. You might want to have the revenge body. Don't worry about all that. You just cultivate the best of yourself for the best of what is coming towards you. As you cultivate the best of yourself, it's not in revenge to them. It's in preparation for the one that is coming. See, revenge says I need to look back. Preparation says I am looking forward. You don't need to have a revenge body. You don't need to have a revenge business. You don't need to have a revenge nothing. You just have a preparation mindset. I'm being prepared for what I am committed to. I am prepared for what I am convicted to. Come on now. Don't worry about your past. It's not your future. Like, your past is behind you. Let it stay there. You get prepared and start looking for the abundance, because what was in your past wasn't good enough anyway, or else it wouldn't be in your past. That was your lack. Now you're focused on your abundance. Now you're focused on the greater love. Now you're focused on that next level of business. Now you're focused on your next level of education. Now you're focused on what it is that you are aspiring to, that you are pushing for, that you are climbing towards. Come on now. That is worth the journey. That is worth the preparation. So, mindset shift, action shift, community shift. You get around the people that are going to keep you pointed in one direction. Don't sit there and entertain conversations with people that are going to tempt you to go into your past and have old arguments. Let's sit there and talk about how he broke your heart. Don't know. That is not going to heal your heart. Just sitting there wanting to be negative and talking trash about somebody and, Facebook stalking them. And no, come on now. Your greatness doesn't have time for that. There's something so special in you. You don't see trees trying to get back into the seed, do you? No. Trees don't do that. We're not doing that. Stop begging for yesterday. Because when you beg for yesterday, you know what you're doing? You are, in essence, arguing for limiting beliefs. Because your yesterdays can limit you. And if you argue for your limiting beliefs of yesterday, you will keep them. And if you keep your limiting beliefs from yesterday, you know what you're going to get? The results of limitations. All in one direction. All in one direction. You are committed. You are convicted. That's it. You just keep reminding yourself. Even when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, don't fear. Don't fear any evil. You are committed. You are convicted. You know where you're going. You don't have to know every step, but you know the direction. And you say, I'm all in. And let me just tell you, for those of you that do not know, Jesus comes out victorious on the other side of all this stuff. You're like, I don't believe in Jesus. Whatever. Like, you watch other movies, just claim it to be a movie or a book that you've read. Like, let's not get so deep. Like, come on now, I could be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and I could tell you a story to encourage you. So just use the story as encouragement. Don't get caught up in stuff that you don't need to get caught up on. If your heart doesn't believe, if your mind doesn't believe, take the lesson and apply it to your life so that you can become your greatest self, so that you can become whole, so that you don't operate in any lack. Here's the takeaway, that there is something greater for you. There's something greater for you. And you can choose like Jesus did in this story where he said, nevertheless, I'm not choosing the less. If you have a problem with that, there's just a whole different issue. Like, don't be upset by who said it. Like, he said, nevertheless, just take that. Like, take that and say, yeah, you know what? That's pretty solid. Nevertheless, I can rock with nevertheless. If you want to become your greatest self, if you want to live your best life, if you want to have your greatest relationships, if you want to prosper in business, if you want to prosper in your education, if you want to make an impact in your community, then take a stance that says, I'm not choosing the lesser route. I'm choosing abundance. So there you go. Go with that. Say nevertheless. And guess what? Everything about your life is going to thank you, because you are stepping into a place of abundance, and that place of abundance is where you are designed to live, and it makes you whole. You know what it makes you? Saved. It saves you from what? Lack. You are meant to be whole. You are meant to be saved from being like incomplete, from being lacking. No, you are meant to not only live, but have life more abundantly. That was the whole mission statement Jesus gave. He's like, I am here that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Have life and then have it more abundantly. It's a good thing. So as we shut it down tonight, our takeaways, conversation that you can have with yourself, not in the voice of a lamb, but in the voice of a lion that says, I am committed, I am convicted to life more abundantly. Then you go after it with your whole heart. Go after it with all your energy. Go after it with everything that you have. And you say, nevertheless. Can you do that? Of course you can. Apply it to your life. Go for it. And on the other side of that, you will be victorious. That's a good thing. Father, thank you for this day and this time we've been together, this opportunity to be with everyone that is here, those that are here live, those that are watching a part of Team Replay. Thank you for each and every person that has been here and the blessing of their life in these moments. Thank you for what they have added, and thank you for the opportunity to share life's moments with them. I pray for each and every person that has been faced with this moment of commitment, those that have claimed it and accepted it and decided, yep, this is who I am. I am committed. I am convicted. I pray for each and every person that is in that moment, in that place, in this mindset, in this state of being. I pray that their life would make a drastic turn. Even as they take action, I pray that things would start to happen suddenly in their lives, that they would move from being this passive voice that kind of just was uncertain to being a lion that has a roar about them. That they would understand the royalty that is within them, that they would understand the power that is resonant within them, that they would take action expecting outcomes, that they would take action expecting to prosper. Not that this thing of uncertainty, this way of living that has been just so insecure, that would be moved out of their life, and that they would become strengthened as they go, strengthened as they take action, as they are moving in this commitment. I pray that they would be strengthened, that their relationships would be stronger, that their health would be increased, that their finances would grow, that their business endeavors would work out, and that opportunities would present themselves, and that they would seek out opportunities. I pray that there would be a complete mindset shift where their education would develop and go to a higher level, and they would seek out instruction and help and support. I just pray that there would be a focus where they begin to look actively for the next level. And as they do so, I pray that you would open up doors that no person can close. I pray that doors would be open to them that are just unusual opportunities. I pray blessings upon them, even as they go through these unusual doors of opportunity, that their life would prosper, that they would not just prosper for today, but prosper generationally. That the greatest things in their life would not just be ideas that are sitting within them, but they would be experiences that would be had. So I pray that we would dream, see things in a greater way, because you are able to do exceeding abundantly above all we could ask or think. I pray that we would ask and think greater. Help us to lock in and dial in to that one beautiful obsession, that one fantastic idea, that one marvelous calling and assignment, and help us to go all in and press toward the mark for our highest calling and receive the prize associated with it. I pray blessings upon each one as we go our separate ways. I pray that you would encamp angels of protection around us, keep us safe and protected as we operate and move into this way of living, committed and convicted. And I thank you in advance, counting these things as done. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Time to prepare. Prepare for your greater season. Prepare for your next level. Prepare for your victory. See it, anticipate it, move in it. Be bold, be brave, be courageous about it. Go all in. This is your time. This is your season. You be committed to it. I'm B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. Love you much. See ya.